to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board on board. Well, folks, welcome to our June 18, 2024 meeting. This, of course, is our official canvas meeting for the election. And it looks like, well, our IT people have left, so I'm thinking that we're also Zooming. So welcome to those folks as well. I know we have a number of people from the public, and we usually start with public comment. We would actually keep things somewhat short because we're trying to complete the election that we had. And so we do have that business to take care of and so forth. And I don't know if you're all going to speak. I noticed you signed in. If you just have a spokesperson who's going to speak, that's fine. But I would just ask that you identify yourself for us if you're going to speak. So does anyone want to make a comment?
Well, I'm Kevin Torres. I didn't make copies for everybody. I'll give this to you all, kind of like you put it in the minutes if you would. If you want to you can kind of look through it there if you want to. Or
Well, do you want to tell us what?
Well, I'm going to, yeah, I'll get to that. I guess it's just some concerns that I have. First page, just to start off, there's a statement that Elon Musk put out, and I'm sure everybody knows who Elon Musk is.
Don't believe a resident of Ohio.
This pertains to
I'm
Ohio.
just saying,
I understand
not
that.
a resident of Ohio.
Elon Musk said we should eliminate electronic voting machines. The risk of being hacked by humans or AI, while small, is still high. Okay, so there's a guy that does AI. He's putting chips in brains, getting people that can't, paraplegics that can operate computers.
He's a very intelligent man.
So that's his opinion. So I think that's a pretty valued opinion. The next one is just an article about it. Third one is Robert Kennedy Jr. running for president. Puerto Rico's primary elections just experienced hundreds of voting irregularities related to electronic voting machines, according to the Associated Press. Luckily, there was a paper trail, so the problem was identified and vote tallies corrected. So that's saying there can be a problem. There was a problem. Peter Berenger, reporter, attorney Jesse Bennell testified before the U.S. Senate on election fraud by Dominion voting machines. A 39-second video of him is in the upper left post. Okay, it tells you where that's at.
Again, just for the record, we do not use Dominion equipment.
I understand that. I'll get to that. Sheriff Dar Leaf, he's a sheriff out of Michigan. The letter supporting documentation has been sent to Rep. Jim Jordan or Rep. Scott Perry. Next topic, Chinese, we need to go into that. Here's the letter. In the letter, he tested, I'll let you all read it.
Thank you.
It's got foreign parts in the machines.
Just so again, you know that we, every member of the board has to take yearly a cybersecurity class. And then, for lack of a better phrase, I guess a quiz that follows after it. And that's also true of the staff as well.
So you're an expert at the election machines?
I'm probably more of an expert than you are, yes.
Okay. Here is a report. There is no reliable way to detect hacked ballot marking devices by Philip Starr from the University of California, Berkeley. Probably not as good as you, but
Well, I don't know.
I'd say he's got some credentials. Next one, CNN, Smartmatic implicated in a bribery scheme. All right, it was implicated. That was because Fox News didn't ask for discovery against them.
I'm not familiar with the lawsuit.
Okay, there's a little update on it.
Okay.
Next article, it's on Unison. Okay, I think Unison may be part of what you use, right?
It is.
Okay. You know, the businessman that owns Unison is
I
from
don't.
Malaysia.
Okay,
You know what, one of their business is casino machines, it's international lottery and totalizer. Okay, so you have a Malaysian businessman that owns the equipment that we use in this county. And as you know, casinos are designed for the house to win.
okay.
Another article on Unison against what you use. Chinese partner companies control over 75% of the voting machines. Another article, exclusive, not a single voting system testing lab used in the 2020 election was accredited according to the law at the time. One lab was never accredited at all. That falls in.
Well, again, I'd have to read the article again, just again for the record. In Ohio, in order for any piece of equipment to be accredited, it must be accredited by the state of Ohio independently of the federal government's accreditation system as well.
Who was accredited to?
So
Who?
you'd want to talk with the Secretary of State about their accreditation process. That would
Could
be
you,
Frank
once you read this article, please do that. Next one, exclusive. You thought Dominion had issues. The latest election technology is absolutely frightening. The first page is No Wink and B Pro. Is No Wink something you use here?
Yep, we use No Ink poll books.
Okay.
They have nothing to do with voting, aren't connected to the voting process. They're connected with your registration when you come here to vote, either here or at a polling location.
Does it have Bluetooth?
They do speak between one another. That's how you get your authority to vote.
So you have Bluetooth capability in a No Wink poll pad. And just for the record here,
So you understand, it's the poll book.
okay, just for the record, Dominion uses No Wink. No Wink has got in 1,800 jurisdictions and counting, 122,000 poll pads that are in 36 states plus Washington, D.C.
It's a very popular company, it would appear.
Okay, well, the machines may not be connected to the internet, but if they talk Bluetooth, they have the capability of talking back and forth. So that is a possible connection where it could be a problem.
Right.
Come on in, yeah, grab a seat.
How's it going?
And this is our vendor that I had told you, Kevin, that was gonna be here, Ryan Shillito. He is with RBM.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian.
Another election system provider, 10X software like No Wink connects to the internet, not certified, not audited across numerous states.
And again, that would be a different company.
It's just like No Wink.
Well, it's not like knowing.
Shocker, No Wink systems allow election staff to override election results. I'd like to have a copy of the contract. Here's a picture of a contract that actually has that on here. It says the system shall allow the county election staff to override results if necessary. It is 46.16 in the.
Yeah, we saw that.
That's election
Right.
reporting, their election reporting software.
Oh, okay.
You guys will use.
Okay.
You guys just try it.
But that does work on, is that in some of the contracts?
I wouldn't be with yours, you don't have election reporting with them.
Yeah, we don't have we don't have that program with them.
Right.
The,
I understand you don't, but there is a capability through No Wink. That is against the law.
I mean, that is something they offer, a service knowing to offer.
I
That
don't
is
think they
against
offer
the
it.
law.
I don't think they offer it money.
But it's
Right.
still against the federal have a law, the Help America Vote Act. You cannot have anything connected, anything like that. Next one, B-Pro, No Wink, uncertified internet connected cloud-based election systems are foreign influenced and used to illegally process election results. They have a remote access capability, is that right? Can you remotely access anything, poll pads, any parts of the machines?
We can,
Not
no,
here, in Ohio, well, not this county, I don't know other counties, but I don't think in Ohio.
So, but you can do it in other counties, so that's against the law.
Well, again,
We
we
can't
certainly
say-
can't tell, they
Yeah.
tell me what to do.
Well, I think what he's trying to get the point is that if they're circumventing the law in other counties, whether it's this county or not, why do we deal with a company that doesn't follow the laws? I think that's the point he's trying to get at. And
Yeah, and again,
Yes.
I understand
wouldn't it be
that.
the county that's not following the law, not the company?
I'm not saying you all are
I'm
not.
not, that's not the.
That's
Right.
not it.
I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, in a way, the presentation would be better served upon the Secretary of State than on us. When we're not involved in that, if you understand what I'm saying. I mean, I guess it's educational, but it's, it's like anything else. We're concerned that the Russians may be trying to impact our elections. We go through all this security because they attempt to attack, every county in the country and so forth. And we get that. We get it that the North Koreans are doing the same thing. We get it the Chinese are doing the same thing. Probably Israel's trying to do the same thing. For all I know, the French and the Germans are. And again, there are homegrown people who are likewise doing the same thing. I'm just saying, it certainly is educational. We haven't had a chance to read it. I'm going to read it and so forth, but I just have to tell you that some of the stuff doesn't apply to us because we don't have the equipment. We don't enter into that service. And so this idea of they circumventing the law, I'll believe that when a court says that's what happened, not a citizen. If I've only spent over 50 years being a lawyer. And so I understand how the system works, and the system works when a court speaks, not when a citizen speaks.
Is any Chinese, any foreign parts inside of any of those machines?
Oh, I have no idea.
What's
I
that?
have no idea.
I couldn't tell you.
So you don't have any idea whether there's foreign parts inside? You never had, there's no.
I'm
source?
guessing there are. There are foreign parts in your car. There are
Do you use
foreign
Windows?
parts in your
No.
phone.
You don't use
I
Windows.
mean, it's
There's no
just
Windows
a fact of life.
On any of the voting equipment or any of the coding or any of the software that they use for them, none of it's Windows. Now, is Windows available through other vendors? I'm what ESNS and Dominion and those folks may use Windows still, but our system does not.
What system do you use?
We use the Linux version, an old Linux version.
Still probably has foreign parts. Is it sourced?
This is a software component. This isn't anything.
You're talking hardware versus software.
Yeah, software, hardware is different than software. Your hardware is double Texas source stuff.
Okay. I think it's a big concern. It's a very big concern. Any chance, any remote access with Bluetooth, anything, there's no reason we don't go back to paper ballots with this kind of safety issues.
And then you would scan them, or you would spend millions of your tax dollars to have them hand counted.
How much did you spend on these machines?
Cost the county $10, that's what,
$10 to use the machine,
no, to buy them.
to buy the machines?
Yeah,
For some reason, I heard 750,000.
that was the state's part of it. County, I think.
So we
spent
still
$10.
paid for it.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to pay for them, yeah. But we're talking about if you had 3 elections, you know how a hand count would work? You might take 100 ballots and you'd have an R and a D. And the R is going to read it to the D, and the D is going to put down, what the votes were on each item. When you get all done with it, you have those totals. Now you're going to flip it, and the D is going to read to the R. And if it turns out you're off by 1, you're going to start all over with a new group counting those 100. That's the only way you can do it and ensure people that everything is fair. Because, for instance, Kadeen's in Orange, she reads to me. She has no idea if I'm marking what she said. I could be marking anything I wanted.
Well, she can see.
Well, but for that process to work, trust me, we do this for a living at times. Where you have to count them.
A lot of people count
And
those
so forth.
voluntarily.
And it takes, I'm just telling you, when you have 72% of 42,000 in a small county like ours, it's still gonna take a long time. You can imagine how many it will take in Columbus, where you have 70-some% of whatever number
Do
they
you think
have.
it's important to have it
Cuyahoga County.
exactly correct?
Hand counting is no more exact. I mean, if you remember Bush Gore and the dangling chads that went on, what's a mark? You would think citizens would mark things the way they're instructed. I can tell you from personal experience, that doesn't happen. The oval, where you ask them to darken it in, a number of citizens circle the outside of the oval. They put a check mark like this. It goes through that oval and that oval up there. And then they have a check mark right below it. We see these things sometimes on our absentee ballots where someone is asked for paper and we run it through our machine and that's what we get. So it's not all, oh gee, they're gonna do a perfect little oval. That just doesn't happen in life.
Argentina just held an election down there, the size of Argentina, and they done hand counting, they done it in one day.
Yeah.
Didn't have any problem.
And again, I don't know how much they would spend. They may have access to people that don't spend a lot of money. And when you say they don't have a problem, how do you know?
They hand counted the whole country.
How do you know that they didn't have all kind of fraud?
I have more faith in that than I do in a machine.
Well, I understand that some people don't have faith in the machine.
60%.
And again, I'm just here to tell you
60% of the country
that-
thinks the election was rigged through the machines. 80% are Republicans.
Well, I'm sorry that that's true. I mean, I guess Biden must have won Ohio 4 years ago.
81 million voters.
When he did, he should have won it. If
Well,
they
I'm
showed
just
it,
saying
Biden should have
that
won it.
apparently, but what you're also saying is, and then we have to leave it at that because we have other things to do. I'm gonna read this. I'm interested in, what you found, but all I'm going to say is, when we look at the system, I can't believe, in part what you're saying is, especially God bless Republicans and they're people I know and I respect their friends, they're not that dumb. You seem to be saying that the Democrats are brilliant and they somehow pulled the wool over all these stupid Republicans across the country and took an election from the real winner.
Both sides cheat.
And I'm just saying.
It's a use of power.
That's the first thing. I don't know that happened. And again, I believe in the court system and I don't know how many lawsuits there were. And there were lots of Republican judges. So it wasn't like this was a Democratic
Start with the
conspiracy,
unity party.
It's the unit party.
It's not, there's no separation between Democrats and Republicans anymore. It's us against the elite.
Well, I understand that you believe that. I tend not.
Let me ask you, on the no-wing poll pads, they are connected to Bluetooth. With that being said, that would give one side an advantage, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, if they have access to that Bluetooth, because now you have access to who's voted. And so you have all those records. So any kind of ballots could be injected in, hand ballots could,
All that information is posted at 11 and 4. It's at 6, 11, and 4. All of that stuff is printed out at each precinct and posted. Anyway,
So anybody can go and find out who
Yeah.
voted.
Yeah,
People-
absolutely.
Yeah, that's the law.
Absolutely, that's the
As the
law.
election's going on.
Yes, absolutely.
Again,
Campaigns use that all the
this week-
time because they want to go back and find their
people that said they would vote for them and
Right.
say, hey, you haven't voted yet. I
Right.
know you were gonna support me. They use that, we've used it for years.
So that is tilting the game to one side or the other.
No, it isn't.
but
That's
it
making
shows-
it available to everybody.
So that's available to the uniparty. That's not available to the general public.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
no, anybody, and it's posted on the wall.
In the wall.
Anybody can walk in and look.
Yeah, that's Ohio law.
Yeah, any general public, anyone can go in and look at it.
Yeah.
And it's a piece of paper.
And it is public
that has the
information.
names.
It doesn't say how the person voted.
It just says
It
that
just says that they
they came and voted.
Right.
You know, so that puts it almost, how could you win against that? If you had an organized group that wanted to follow along with that, you could go one way or the other. If you went back to poll books, it would not be so easy. So that is a
It's
potential.
the
The poll
same
books
with
did the same
paper.
thing.
Well, we had the same with paper.
With a
Yeah.
paper poll ballot, how would you post that at 3 times a day
We
without?
had 3 copies. We had carbon paper.
Yeah,
You would tear off at 11, you would tear off the first carbon copy and lay it out for people to look at. And at 4 o'clock, you would tear off the other carbon.
So if my vote should be sacred, why should somebody be able to know that I voted?
Because that's
That's
required by
public
law.
record.
We're required to post that, which we do at 11 and 4.
So you have a complete copy of everybody that voted in the 2020 election.
Absolutely,
Exactly. We have no
Absolutely.
idea how they voted, but we
So-
know that they voted.
Yes,
So I could ask for that, I'd get a copy of that too.
sure. It's all, actually, it's
So I
posted.
mean, I could do canvassing
You could go
myself.
on
You could go online and
On our
see,
website.
and then you could look up any individual and it'll tell you when they voted. It doesn't tell you how they voted, but it tells you when they voted.
Well, I
That's the problem.
don't have much to say,
And why is that?
but I can't see why anybody would know how the vote was going before it was over.
it's
No, they
No,
They don't know how it's
not
going.
how.
They only know who
Did
voted.
you
They just
vote?
know how many people were.
But
We have no idea how they voted.
You know who.
We don't care.
No, you don't.
No, we don't.
No, you don't.
We have no way of
The
knowing.
other thing, Kevin, when we hire poll workers, all of them take an oath because they actually work for us
To uphold the Constitution.
to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of Ohio.
Okay. Just a few other questions. Let's see, the hand counted ballots, the mail-in ballots, who counts them? Who does the signature verification and counts those?
The staff, we the staff,
So the staff, is that, okay, so you are appointed, you appoint them, they have the same powers as a poll worker?
yes, when we are hired, we take an oath, just like the poll workers.
And
do,
sign an ethics policy.
And sign an ethics policy.
And it's done R&D together.
Yes, Mandy and I.
So it's not like, oh, Karen can go through and verify all the signatures. They do it, they have to do it together. They're
And if
required.
and
to
if
do
there's
it.
a question, and I don't think, I think there's, some differences, I go to Mandy and I said, I would like for you to look at this and see what you think. And we
So
do that all together here in the office.
you're supposed to have two nonpartisan people.
No, actually, two parties.
You have to have two
Partisan, a
partisan.
Republican and a Democrat.
You have to have two of each party, or one of each party.
So, okay, so you guys, so it's completely, you're one and one. I mean,
Or the staff, we have two clerks.
that's who counts them.
And then we may hire additional people, an R and a D, especially during a presidential gubernatorial, just because of the number of people trying to help them get in here and find their, make sure they put their authority to vote, their ballots come up. We're not looking at it or anything. There are curtains and whatnot, but occasionally a person will ask for some help.
Okay.
And so forth. So we make sure that we have those folks available as well. But we have R and a D, and where all the election process takes place is a room back there. And if you turn around and look, or when you walk out, you'll see there are two keyholes. You need an R key and a D key to get into that room. When you get into that room, in order to go into where voting, the ballots are voted off the equipment, there's a cage. You have to have an R and a D key in order to get in. So You can't get into the room without an R and a D. You can't get into that cage without an R and a D. When you go in the back, when we're in election cycle, we have a secure location where we keep this equipment locked. You can't get in without an R and a D key. And we make sure that we follow that to the letter. There's an R and a D present at all the time.
Now, does the staff have access to those? I mean, all
Again, the
those
staff has access because they have an R and a D key.
a board
But
member,
again,
does the board members have keys?
We don't have keys.
We don't have keys.
But we can serve in that
But
capacity.
we-
If I'm not available, I would ask either
Yeah.
Robin or Dennis to come in and represent
Right.
the Democrat.
Okay, well, just one thing, I guess it's a problem. Your husband, you just ran for an office, Republican, it's not against the Ohio Revised Code in the last election, and now this election, your husband's running for a state house seat. That almost seems like it would be just a little edgy.
Well, again, we had a write-in candidate, correct? And you will see in the minutes that Mrs. Ritter abstained.
Mhm.
She did not vote.
Okay, and
She did not vote on his petition to
That's right.
approve his
That's
petition
right.
either.
Okay, something else, if you would, maybe mention to your husband, he spoke at a meeting the other night that we was at. And something he said, he was asked about the using the machines. And he spread some disinformation there, or maybe it was misinformation, however. He said that's what's handed down to the state. We don't have nothing. That's just what we're given. That's what we have to use. And I had to correct him and say, no, that is done to the county board. And he, if anybody, he should know. And he said he acted like he did not know that the county board is who makes the determination of using the machines.
Right, the commissioners have nothing to do with the machines we use or don't use.
But I understand that. But when somebody asks him the question of, why are we using these machines? He said it's what the state hands down to us. That is wrong. So
Well,
he
it
should not
depends
say
on
that.
perhaps how he understood the question, because the state does certify the machines that you
Right.
can purchase, whatever the equipment would be.
Okay, there's one
That's our
article,
state.
if you would, check on that. It says in there that those machines, was not certified. The companies that did.
Well, I'll
that-
happily look at it, again, I have an inherent, 50 years of law tells me I just have an inherent distrust of the internet at this point in life.
Okay, so you're saying you just trust the internet, but at the same time, you're trusting.
No,
You're trusting
because
Bluetooth.
again,
I don't use the internet.
2006 or 2007, January, I didn't just go pick RBM and Unisys, off of a tree somewhere that looked like it looked cute. We researched these people, made all these companies come in 3 and 4 times, and we grilled them about everything that they were doing, how their equipment is made. We won't use we do not like to use an RBM assistant, if you will, an expert that is in Ohio. Because we don't want anyone to think that they have a dog in the fight of anything that's in Ohio.
Actually,
And
none
of
of your
course,
employees are Ohio
so we pick
residents.
people from Nebraska and Iowa and,
Yeah.
and so forth. We try to do everything to assure the public, that these results are accurate.
But you
I
say.
mean, when I vote, I actually look to see whether or not, did this, when I'm looking I look at it. Yeah, that's exactly how I voted, that when it printed out. And again, if you're not satisfied at least with that, you can certainly use a paper ballot. We offer you a paper ballot if you want it, and it's going to get scanned. But again, you understand, again, when I started this, I can't remember what year it was, but we went through and we do audits where we actually hand count versus machine count. And one year, we were off by one ballot. And I don't know how long the staff took, but they dug and they dug and they dug through. And you remember what I told you? When some voters, instead of darkening the oval, they circle it? That's what a voter did. And what did we learn? That on a humid day, the paper swelled and there were enough dark spots, microns of dark spots, and that scanner said there's a vote in that oval. On a non, when the humidity was low, the paper had shrunk, and that laser looking in there said there are not enough microns to say there's a vote. So we were off by one vote. And it took them, I don't know how long, but they found that ballot going through those ballots because we were off by one. We don't tend to be off by any, period.
What scares me the most is you seem the
That's
least
it.
bit concerned that I just handed you all kinds of articles.
I know, but
You don't seem a
I've read dozens of articles. For all I know, half of them are gonna be these. I don't know. And when I get done with all of it, it turns out it's an opinion. It's not a fact that has, you can draw a lot of conclusions. I always say that, it's sort of those conclusions that come along with a few facts. Many a time at a jury trial, I would tell jurors that we obviously know that when the cat's away, the mice will play. That's just a fact of life.
When
But absence makes the heart grow fonder. I guess that's just a fact of life.
you talk about, you
And
talk
so
about the
you
legal
can draw
system.
bad conclusions from the same behavior.
I don't know if you follow the Trump trial, but the stuff that they're doing to him is completely absurd.
You have an opinion that that's true, and I suppose then that you agree with me that what they did to Hunter Biden is a shame.
Hunter Biden,
I know, you don't agree with me, do you? It was
I
the
think
same
it's-
Justice Department that went after him. I suppose you think what they did to the Democrat Mendoza is a shame. No, you don't.
well, let's just get back
I'm
to the
just saying
machine.
it's the same
Let's get back to
Department
the
of
machine.
Justice. I don't know. I thought the jurors, they just common people picked out of thin air, probably
From
wish
Washington
that was
DC.
the worst thing that ever happened to them, that they had to be on a jury. At least that's been my experience. Most people don't like jury service, especially when you tell them it's gonna be weeks or a month.
Okay, I guess I'm
Life
done.
happens.
I'm done with the stuff I got. If you guys have any questions.
All right.
I have one comment.
Yep, thank
In
you.
20, I voted
Oh, would you give us your name, please?
Robert Thomas.
Thank you, Rob.
In 1920, I voted on the machine. When I got through voting, it said, you can punch this button and check.
Right.
For the president, it was absolutely opposite, and I knew which one I voted. It was no doubt that I was right.
Was that the old
That
machine where
had
you pushed it and the curtain went behind you and then you shoved it
So
back?
then I changed it, but didn't have enough smarts to check the second time to see whether it was right or wrong.
And you can
And
ask the poll
the
worker,
machine
and they can
actually
tell
done it
you.
wrong. I mean, you can stand there and tell us that we're wrong and you're right, and that don't mean either one of us is right.
Well, again, we may not change one another's opinion. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, on voting, on election, opinion don't have anything to do with it. I don't care if the Democrat wins or Republican wins, to start with, there's less than a dime worth of difference. What I want, whatever's right, if 51% of the population wants this country to go to hell in a handbasket, so be it. I can stand by it. That's just the way life is. And I don't think any,
Communism for you, sir, if this keeps up.
Well, we again appreciate your coming in and again, I am going to read them.
I will as well. I will read it.
You,
I'll read it.
and I can send you, there's on the front, there's a video, it's called Let My People Go. It's a guy that put a lot of time
Can
in
you get
this.
it on YouTube?
Rumble. It's on the front
Oh,
page.
it's up there.
And the other one is,
I have a copy.
Fingerprints of Fraud. It's another breakdown of it. There are some great videos out there, and it's kind of a shame I can't send anybody in here any of these videos or any articles because I think you guys said we can't open anything on our servers.
We are under such scrutiny of cybersecurity, we can't accept anything from outside. We'd have to watch anything that would happen to come to us. I don't just willy-nilly open anything anymore.
Yeah.
Because if it would affect our
Very
machine,
prevalent.
affect our computer systems, I
But
mean,
so you're saying there is a problem that could possibly potentially
It wouldn't
because
be
my
on
machine is hooked to the
machine.
internet, yes.
The
there could
voting,
be-
not the
Not the voting, not the
machine.
voting.
Our
Not the
voting
voting
also in
machine.
that locked room is a separate server system. We're not
Totally
part of the
separate.
county.
That's not,
We are totally separate and not on.
But we're talking about the county network is what we're
Right.
talking about. And
But we're talking about the county network. when you
Right.
But we're
said
not even
that.
on a county network.
No, you're right, that's right, you're on
We're under the
Secretary of
Secretary of State's network.
As far as we know, we're not on the internet, but we don't know if we're on the internet through cellular devices. Because inside that machine's a bunch of electronics.
No,
And
they
that's-
don't have wireless cards, they don't have ports, they don't have network
No.
cables everywhere where it's supposed to go. And I know exactly what stuff you're talking about, there's a lot of different vetting that you go through. And the state of Ohio does tests for Bluetooth connectivity, machines that are allowed to have Bluetooth, such as pull pads. The different types of applications that they have in their encryption software has to be certified by the EAC and CISA, and then it gets moved on to the specific state, like Ohio, and then they have to certify it for it to be able to be used. As far as election equipment is concerned, that's separate from poll books, and none of those items, and they're manufactured in San Diego, California, have any, there's nothing to connect to. There's no modem, there's no wireless card, there's no Bluetooth, none of it. So it writes itself to a hard drive in media. And I've seen in previous documentaries dating back to 2014, then again 2020, 2022, with DREs and TRXs and all these other types of equipment that I don't represent, that we don't use, that they are able to do different things like try to get it to connect by putting in some sort of programming material, using a USB device or using some sort of memory card. Well, that's because those devices actually have disabled wireless cards and disabled device pieces in it that allow that to happen. That's why those components and those types of machines, again, speaking for Ohio, not everywhere else, they've outlawed those types of machines that have that.
Just so you know, and I'll send you an article on it, if you can give me your email address. You cannot look at a piece of electronic equipment. Doesn't have to have USB ports, doesn't have to have a wireless card. It can be built into the electronics to communicate, and the untrained eye will never see it.
Absolutely, that is absolutely true.
Okay, I'm an electrical engineer.
Right.
You can't tell by looking at that board. Just because it doesn't have a wireless card, just because it doesn't have a port or USB or thumb, that doesn't mean anything. That device is still capable of hooking to cellular networks.
And you
never
agree with
know.
that?
I agree that devices, you can't tell if it can connect or not just by looking at it. When you're talking about things like tablets and that sort of thing. But when you're talking about the actual scanner itself, the actual components, you can look at it and see exactly what is there and what's not, because it's all source parts that are all required to be provided, where they got them, what the parts number were, all that stuff when it goes through individual testing. It's called BBSG 2.0. If that's something that I can instruct you guys to do some research on, just to get a little bit more familiar with the new standards, notwithstanding any of the other stuff you talked about. Election and security and all this stuff is constantly evolving. And what I'm seeing a lot of, and concerns are always great to hear from, because we want to hear what people are concerned with, and we want to research it ourselves, obviously. But what's interesting is a lot of times people are bringing up threats and issues with machinery that are obsolete. They're not even being used anymore. They haven't been used in Ohio for X number of years, or they're onto a completely different software or machine itself that's taken its place. Now, they may still have the same name. It still may be no ink. It still may be, ES&S, it still may be Dominion or Clear Ballot or Unison, but the system itself is completely different. And you can actually track that entire process and you can see, and you can do FOIA requests on it. In fact, our manufacturer invites anybody at any time, if they want to come and review their manufacturing facility in San Diego, they can. It's an open invitation, and that's Unison. There are a lot of companies that will do that. Ours specifically does. So keep an eye on what those certification standards are, and as different pieces of equipment go through it, the standards are pretty rigorous, and they're much different even from 2 years ago. And this is a new standard, so looking at the components themselves, tabulators, you can't see, it doesn't connect. You can look at the motherboard and you can see all the components, and they're very simple PCs. They're very simple machines. They're not complicated like they used to before, where you would see all of these, DC to DC boards and all of these components for displays and all these extra things, network cables, all that stuff. It's just a very simple board. And it's specifically made. It's not one of these popular with machines that used to happen where they would do off the shelf, they called it. They would pick components that fit the build the best, that would function, and then they would make their software work and function based off of that. Most of the stuff nowadays is built specifically with the purpose in mind. It's not using anything that is off the shelf. It's not using, this specific tablet or this specific PC or this specific insert whatever piece of equipment it was there like they used to. And then they would disconnect the wireless card, or they would, remove it, or they would do different types of programs to block it to make it not work. Now they're built specifically without those components. And that build list is provided to the EAC. Then it goes through CISA and other cybersecurity, different, acronyms for testing. And now we have a higher standard of VVSG 2.0, which has independent lab testing that goes through all those components, testing systems. And then once it's done there, then it goes to individual states for testing and review. So it's a lot different, but keep up with that, because I think a lot of your questions and concerns, or maybe the ones that are more valid, because I'm not going to say that I'm the smartest person and I know every little thing. I will tell you, there's a lot that I don't know. But we make sure that the stuff that affects us specifically, we do, and that we can say it definitively. Outside of what we do know and what we use in the county, that's up to the other people that may be servicing those places. And what specifically they have in their operation, because every state, every jurisdiction has its ability to use the equipment and have its legislation impact how those individual counties handle elections. So VVSG 2.0, and you might be able to.
What is that again?
VVSG 2.0. And those are going to be modern election security standards, and
I got
see a lot of that.
a nephew, it's an engineer on computers. He worked in China, he's worked in other countries over there with them to make stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, if you look at that and see what the new standards are and how any of your concerns are being addressed, and any of them that aren't, focus on that.
You say the no wink is certified, right?
In Ohio, yeah,
They have to be.
definitely.
Anything we use, they have to be certified.
There's no law that says that the poll pads have to be certified.
I don't know about what specifically. I know no wink is. They have different, if you go to the Secretary of State's website, it'll show what version of poll pad that people are on. And
But no way,
I can't remember
the poll
what
pads
version.
don't have to, by federal law, there's no law that says that they have to be certified.
I think what I find in Ohio, there's federal law. And then Ohio is much tighter.
But you're saying I'm right, there's no federal law.
I don't know. I know that there are a lot of states that don't require poll pad certification specifically.
And they're connected to Bluetooth, which connects to the whole system.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not connected to the whole system.
It doesn't
It would be connected to the poll pad. It would be connected to voter registration numbers if that were the case. And it would be communicating through a Meraki router that would be Cradle Point technology,
So
so.
it goes to a router,
It'd be a moving.
That's just here, when it's here in the office.
and a router connects to what?
It
And
does
this
not
is-
connect to the internet.
Yeah, this is different. I'm talking about other places. You're talking about the pole pads that actually talk, that are connected to the internet. Here, when they're not connected at all. They're connected by Bluetooth to each other to
And
talk to
that's
each
it.
other
To the printer.
and to the printer.
But all the poll pad does is just certify that the person is the voter that's voting.
And prints
They
out
get an
authorization
authority
of
to
votes.
vote slip. The poll pads have nothing to do with the selection,
With the actual votes.
with the actual
If
vote.
it can transmit one way, it can receive the other way.
I
But it
don't know.
But I don't
But
get
it
any
doesn't
votes
vote.
off of
It's
it.
no vote.
I don't
look at a
obtain any
poll pad to see
information
who,
from there
what the
concerning
vote
the
is.
race.
Right,
But it can transfer that information through Bluetooth.
not.
It
It has
to
no
nothing.
information to transfer other than the fact that you voted.
But it's connected to the tabulator.
It's not.
Yeah.
No,
It is not. It is not.
There's nothing that's connected to the tablet.
No,
What you're talking about, I think, is their election night reporting software suite, which is an export that different vendors can use that they can then upload through No Ink that will actually publish their results. And it will broadcast it online or whatever URL or whatever site that is specified.
So that.
They don't have that here.
we don't do
We
that.
don't do that.
We don't, that's not part of the knowing that we use. We
But if
bought
it's
a poll
capable,
pad from.
but he's saying it's capable, so whether you're saying it's
No,
capable
that's-
here,
that's using-
specific county, we gotta look, if it's being used other places.
You're using an export, meaning it's information that is provided from the vendor, from the system, that is then taken to a computer and uploaded. Not the election computer,
Right,
not the poll pads,
right.
not the tabulator system. It is exported and provided to them to upload, and they don't use that here. I don't know of anybody that uses it in Ohio.
I don't think they're
I
allowed
don't think
to.
so.
I don't think.
I think only Triad and Clearvote,
There's clear ballot.
or Clear Ballot
Clear Ballot.
and Triad.
We're a triad.
I think that's all I can think of in Ohio right now.
Well, again, I want to thank you for coming. We are going to
We
read
gotta
this.
stick around.
Oh,
Sure.
feel free. Oh, absolutely. Open. We need to move on to minutes. Like I noticed.
All righty, thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Mhm. You've got a couple things.
That's the only thing I saw.
I didn't read it, terribly carefully. That's what Dennis found.
Yeah, it is May.
Oh, that's right, you stayed.
Yes. Yes. The agenda.
All right.
Is it on your bills?
Yeah, we'll wait on the minutes to, I guess, get that correction. We have, our bills here.
We had the trucks from this June 11th election. That was, I think, this off by 50 cents.
And I was gonna say, pretty much,
So
most
it's pretty
of
much the
this
same.
will be reimbursed by the state.
Right.
Okay. Any further questions on the bills? If not, a motion to approve.
I move to approve the bills. Pay the bills.
Oh, right, I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, passes.
Abstain.
And I was gonna say we had one abstention, Robin.
Yeah.
First.
Looks like our correspondence.
Yep, it's our same directive we've had that covers this election. There's a copy of it there.
Right.
And there's a copy, as part of it is the steps for processing provisional ballots.
Right.
Since we'll be processing them.
So that brings us to our business, the canvas.
We have 5 absentees and 16 provisionals, to go through.
Canvas. 5 absentees.
In the first paper you have, there's like a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Okay, what's this?
So this is for the absentee that we had that did not have a postmark. But it did have the fluorescent barcode, so our liaison Caleb came in yesterday and we scanned it. And it came up that it was postmarked on the 11th, so that's what this shows under the date where it has the 11 there. So it would have to have been, since the 11th was the election, it had to be postmarked the day before the election.
And we've identified that as A.
Yes, as ballot A. And that's included also in your, on your sheet that's absentee ballot postmarked after 6/10. There's two names.
So
Right,
that's.
we have an A and a B,
Yeah.
and they
So
came
the-
in after, and that other one was
It does have a
postmarked
postmark of the 12th.
that you can read.
Yeah, so if you look at this, then you can.
A and B,
No, wait.
Let me see the.
Okay, so this is A and B, what are these ones?
Yeah, these are ballots that were postmarked too late, basically, after the
Okay, A
election,
and B.
or after the 10th, because they have to be postmarked. the day before.
Yeah, there it is, okay. All right, I move that we not accept absentee ballots A and B.
Second.
any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, passes.
And the other one, which is C on there, this was the one, it was not cured by the 4th day after the election. This person didn't sign, and theirs was the reason it was not able to be counted. And we mailed them a letter and, you know, they did not respond to. Actually, we might have mailed 2 letters to them to try to get a response.
I move that we not accept absentee ballot C.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, passes.
Okay, and then the other absentee paper that you have. This has absentee ballot 1. This one was cured in time, and cured by the 15th. And Lynn's.
And then that's the numbers for 2016.
Oh, okay. Here's the Lynn's.
What is that one location?
Okay, just for Warren,
Yes.
that was your numbers for 2016.
He signed it there.
For Warren. And I don't know if you want to vote on them at the same, but absentee ballot number 2. This one was postmarked on the 10th. And everything was completed properly on it.
I move that we accept absentee ballots 1 and 2.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
I do have a question. I mean, it looks like he signed it where the email was. Is that why you sent him that letter? Or
I'm
did he
not
sign that afterwards?
No, he wouldn't have signed it afterwards. So that would have been there before. Perhaps the staff didn't notice.
They might not have noticed.
Yeah, that he
I mean,
signed
he did
it.
sign it.
We'd have to compare to see if it looked like his
Oh, yeah.
signature.
It does.
Oh, or is that the one that he cured it?
He cured it,
Yeah.
but I'm just curious because he did sign it.
What if we could
Just
take
sign it in
that,
the wrong
we take that
spot.
if it was signed in the
As long
email?
as the signature would match, I would say we could,
Yeah.
It's approved.
Yeah,
but at least he.
But
I mean, he ended
Yeah,
up
maybe
curing
cured
it,
it
but
that way.
it just was, you know,
He doesn't need to.
he perhaps didn't need to. That's,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we'll want to keep those separate, the ones for the one and two, and the ones, yeah. Got it. So then we got the provisionals. the first group we have, these are ones that are name changes or address changes, or both, name and address change. And everything was properly completed on them.
So that's 1 through 7
Yes,
of the provisionals.
And just change.
yeah, the address change, name change, or both.
Mhm.
Does that include who, Sure?
Yeah, no, none of those do.
No, these are,
Yeah, we have them separate.
These are just people that had to vote provisionals with those.
Yeah, they provided ID and had it with them.
But they all showed their ID, yeah, I see that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we'll have a group later here that's the IDs.
I move that we accept provisional ballots 1 through 7.
Second.
any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
This next group, there's 3 of them, 8, 9, and 10. These people voted early in the office and then went to their polling location to vote on election day. We did talk with at least 2 of the people. They came in actually on election day after they voted. And Melissa ended up, she knows them. But they thought it was a different election. They did not realize it was the same election they'd already voted in the office.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of confusion.
Yeah,
and there was another even woman that had came in before, when we were doing early voting before election day. And she thought it was a different election as well, that she was coming in to vote in, and then, we showed her that it was the same election and that she'd already.
and actually showed her
Her
signature.
signature, yeah. from-
She goes, Melissa said, is this your signature? And she's like, yeah, that's my signature. And she brought in her son and his teacher to show
To show them how to
how to
vote,
vote.
like the process,
Oh dear.
so,
Oh, my.
yeah.
And she's
Short
trying to
term
vote
memory
for a
loss.
second thing.
Right.
Well,
She
the
didn't
first 2
realize
are
it was the
obviously
same election,
elderly,
but-
70s and
Yeah.
80s. I don't know about this last person.
she just, yeah,
She just had a,
I don't think anything criminal by
This
any
election,
means.
yeah, I mean, it
Right.
seemed like it was very confusing
Yeah.
for people,
Yeah,
yeah, that they were confused between the March election, I think, and this election,
so
yeah.
I mean, we refer all of these, don't we?
Do we have the discretion?
I think
To
you have the
the
right
sheriff's
to do
department, isn't that what we normally do?
I think we refer, but we let them know.
I think we make a note.
I mean, yes, yeah, it would be the
Let them know
prosecutor's
that
office.
they-
Innocent
And it's a
mistake.
mistake, yeah.
Innocent
Yeah.
mistake.
I didn't think it's right.
I vote that we reject provisionals 8 through 10.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
And the next group, these are people that did not have ID with them, or it was expired ID. There are 11 through 16. 2 of those people, which is number 11 and number 16, brought in their license to cure their ballot.
So they cured it.
Yeah,
11 and 16,
Yeah, cured.
so it's 12 through 15 that really didn't.
So,
And
yeah,
11
12 through
and
15 would not,
16.
yeah.
Right. But we're gonna start with
11 and
11
16.
and 16.
I vote to accept provisional ballots 11 and 16.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes.
And then here's the 12 through 15 that did not bring in any ID within the requirements.
That's over there, yeah.
Pretty much, I think all of them were expired, and not that they just didn't have it, I think most of those were expired.
So they had to run in,
So hopefully they went to the BMV and
they got that part
renewed,
fixed.
yeah, so they could
But they
drive,
didn't-
so they could drive legally.
They didn't bring it to here.
Speaking
No, but
on
they didn't
that,
bring it here.
and I need to get a hold of the BMV, you know, you can now renew your license online. But they don't get anything, they don't get a paper, I guess, or anything until they get their actual license, the new license.
You renew online?
Yes,
That's
How
what
do you-
people have told us.
How do you
I
take a
haven't tried it.
picture and
well, they just
eyesight?
use the same picture,
Use the same picture.
Yeah, they just use them.
But they
We
can
don't
probably
do
print-
eyesight anymore?
so you think there's something they can print?
I would say there would have.
They should, yeah, you should be able to.
If you're
Yeah.
hired to have to take a test and you have to go in, you don't qualify to review, so.
And you're over 65, you can. We don't trust you people.
Yeah.
Their eyes are bad.
Apparently.
So but I do wanna call the BMV on that and find out
Find out how.
how they can do that.
So
The
they'll
light
have
comes on
someone
print.
come in Friday.
One lady said she did it on her phone. So,
Yeah, probably can.
Great to know.
All right, I move to reject provisional ballots 12 through 15.
Second.
Any further any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes.
Is that it for the ballot?
That is it.
So we're
Yes,
gonna
we did
open our
have-
good ones and run them through and have a result.
Yep.
Did you get this?
Yeah.
and I finally did send you the back page.
Yeah, you did.
So that's a total of 2 additional.
Two, are we-
and
yes,
then 9
are-
additional.
And then.
Hotels or what?
That's
At home downtown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Monday night and Tuesday night?
Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Just one night?
Tuesday night, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Cause mine, Melissa and Emily's is Monday night, cause we have a class on Monday.
Okay, we don't start till.
Okay. Shall we go into recess?
Yep. I'm gonna move. Go ahead.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, passes. We're in recess.
So we don't have we're only on Tuesday night.
9:45.
Yeah, if you want, I could try to get you in Monday
No,
night,
no,
if
I
you
mean,
wanna drive up.
No,
that
I'm
way.
just trying to figure out who's leaving when. Are you going up Flowers next morning?
Wait, we start Tuesday morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We've always gone up the night before.
I thought we
Because-
had-
I know.
Because we start early in the morning.
Yeah.
Really?
It's opening. Well, it starts at 9:30.
Yeah, so I moved it Tuesday the night before.
I'm not sure I can get you in the help room. Do you want somewhere else downtown?
Yeah. I guess
Is that
so.
their,
Yeah,
What do you prefer?
I just want to see what their.
oh,
We're
yeah.
close.
Yeah, let's do
Jewelry?
Sure, that's right
Okay, I will try to get you guys in for the jewelry.
What are you driving around on?
Much of what they say probably
I mean,
has some
here's the thing, is
applicability
that
because they
I'm
make
flying out of
generalized
Columbus
statements about
At
computers,
3:30.
electronic device.
So if I could catch a ride with somebody, huh?
there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll drive up with you
Company.
whenever you're
And
going.
they're probably going back 10 years or something on equipment or longer, you know, about problems.
Justin Timberlake just got arrested for.
I mean, Bruner, when I first went on the
I'm gonna
board,
see him in
ended up
December.
ordering Cuyahoga County to get rid of all their equipment because you could get into it with an iPhone.
Well, a lot of the.
Cleveland had that?
Yeah,
Oh, my
that
God.
was during Bruner's.
Oh,
And so she said, get rid of it. And they did. Why not? But,
I just can't believe that they think that we should go back to counting paper ballots.
well, again.
I'm just like, just amazed.
I keep
And people
trying to-
somehow think that that's better.
I keep.
Is it still live?
trying to think How, the only way you could.
Oh, yeah.
You'd really have to limit this, I don't even know. If
Can we
100
pause? I'm trying to, yeah, hold on.
Maybe be 20 ballots.
By the way, knowing it was the first poll book that was BBSG.
Okay, now it's paused.
As of last week.
Was the first one the what?
I didn't want to say that because
Is it paused now? What did you say that again?
they're the first poll book that's BBSG 2.0 certified.
I'm just turning it off and start a new meeting.
And the first voting system filed a lawsuit last week because it changed their requirements. After they got certified. So have to pay another
What's that?
$75,000 to go through retesting.
I just I turned it off.
Smart systems out of,
Well. These companies make $1 or $2, so.
I've seen a lot of these articles, anyway, it's like, it's
It's
just
just
a dumb idea.
rehash of some, I'm guessing. And again,
How's that?
Elon Musk, I mean,
Yeah, really, like, we're gonna take our.
we should
instructions
eliminate
from him.
electronic, the risk of being hacked, while
A lot of-
small is still too
A
high.
lot of their concerns, like from what they're citing, are legitimate. But
Well, yeah,
the
but
thing
they
is,
don't
they're
lie.
referring to